Welcome back, guys. It is Kibler from the Brothers Geek Out podcast, and we've got another Geek Out session. But I've got somebody wonderful on the show today to geek out with. We've got Hassan here from Geek House Show. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, man. And hello to all the listeners and the viewers. I'm happy to be here.
No, we've been trying to get this done for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Since
been
I think since February, I think. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been really busy. I
Yeah.
mean, we are in the same circle of the
Mhm.
DC family, and
Mhm.
I remember seeing you when you came over for Black Adam and met The Rock.
Oh man, that was an amazing day. Yeah.
And that must have been an amazing day. I mean, I
Yeah.
still can't forget it. But then we properly met at, was it Park Row, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
at Park Row. Yeah, Park Row, and then we did the Fury Shazam 2 premiere.
Mhm.
Uh it's been an amazing journey for me so far, but I mean for yourself, bro, like I've seen the work you do and
Mhm.
and the things you've got up to. Like, I mean, what was it that made you get into this?
I mean, it's passion, as you already said before. Like, it all started with me actually living in the UK in 2014 and 15 when I was like, studying,
Hmm.
you know. And during that time, I used to, I love, first of all, I love movies, and I love comics, and I used to read comics since I was a kid. I used to love, you know, and I still love, comics, and I still love, movies, all of these things. But what got me into like, starting an account and starting a podcast like the Geek House Show is first of all passion, and two, there are some people who inspired me to do this, like the late John Schnepp, if you know him.
Yes, I
So
do.
I used to watch him and John Campia, and
Yeah, that's right.
I don't necessarily like agree with them on everything, but the fact that they like kind of like have a conversation about the things that we love about movies and about comic book movies and about Batman and Superman
Mm.
and the MCU. And at that time, it was like, BVS was not released yet. And the anticipation was high. And I was like, I can't wait to see Superman and Batman meet together in the first time on the screen. So that was, let's say, the inception of that idea for
Mm.
me to start the Geek House Show. And then when I finished my study and came back to Kuwait, um, I found like, I had a lot of, free time at that time, I like, and I was like saying, we don't have this in Arabic. We have a lot of,
Mm.
there are a lot of podcasts and there are a lot of accounts that discuss all of these movies and the comic book genre in English, but we never had any account in that discuss
Mm.
these movies in Arabic. And so that's how, I started the Geek House Show. It's right now the biggest Instagram account in the whole world that discuss these movies, the comic book movies and the comic book TV shows and the comic book games in Arabic. And I was
That's
trying
amazing.
to, yeah, I was trying to do something new as well. I didn't want to do something that has been done before. And so, yeah, my English is good. I could have done it in English, but I mean, like, there are a lot of accounts that do this as well.
Mm.
And but again, like, there was no account in the Middle East as well, where I live, that was that discussed these movies in Arabic. And I know as well that we have a lot of fans there, a lot of fans
Mm.
in the Middle East, that love these movies and love these characters and want to discuss and want to geek out. And they kind of like feel more comfortable to geek out maybe in the Arabic language, And so
Of
that's,
course.
let's say, the start of it. That's how the Geek House show started.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing, dude. Because you've touched on something there is connecting with people with Arabic.
Yeah.
Uh, and then when you see people of our culture, of our background doing something, that's what kind of inspires you more to say, you know what, we don't have something like this.
Yeah.
Why don't I give it a go? You've been on an amazing journey, bro, because as you said, you're one of the largest accounts. that does it in Arabic as well.
Mm.
I mean, you must be really proud of the work you do sometimes because you get some great opportunities. Uh, what was your first meeting with somebody that you were like, oh my God, this is out of this world? Who was the first person you met?
I mean, are we talking, or are we speaking about, the first ever celebrity that I've met, like as a person, or as a
As running the Geek House
as
show.
I was running a geek house. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
the first opportunity that we had was with Robin Taylor, who played the Penguin in Gotham.
Yeah.
That's the first opportunity that we had to, a celebrity that we had the opportunity to interview. It was in a
Mm,
local comic convention in Kuwait called Comfest, which
mm,
is an abbreviation for Comic Festival Convention. It is, the biggest comic convention that we have right now in Kuwait. They brought Elizabeth Olsen,
mm,
last this year actually in February. So
mm.
they brought Elizabeth Olsen, one that was one of their guests.
Oh, wow.
So Robin Taylor was the first celebrity that we had the opportunity to do an interview with. But at that time, I didn't do the interview. One of my friends who was helping me at that time with the account, Yusuf, he did the
Yeah.
interview for us, and I was behind the
Okay.
scene doing the camera work and all of these things, and
Yeah.
but the first interview that I've done, I think it was with Kevin Conroy, the
Wow.
late Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman,
Oh,
and yeah, and so we like, we've met a lot of celebrities by interviewing them, through comic conventions, local comic conventions in the Middle East,
okay.
whether it's Confest in Kuwait, or MEFCC in Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
or Abu Dhabi right now, or Speedy Comics Con. All of
Mm,
these conventions, like, we took part of, like, to interview celebrities. I mean, um, if you ask me about my favorite, I mean, there are a lot of
mm-hmm.
favorite, like, there are a lot of favorites. I can't pick one, but
Yeah. Go for it.
it will always be, the first interview that I've done, because it was so special with Kevin Conroy, and
Yeah.
he's as you already know, I think from the logo, I'm a big Batman fan, and
Yep.
when people ask me who's your favorite Batman, I will always say, people expect me to say Bale or Keaton or Affleck, but I always say Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy
Mm,
is my favorite Batman of all time, and so he's a hero to me, as
yeah.
well, yeah. So
Oh,
it's
that's
uh,
amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
yeah,
It's I wish he did come to a couple of the UK Comic Cons, and I wish I had the
yeah,
chance to meet. Every time I wanted to meet him, something else came up. But you're right. He's one of the crucial part of the Batman mythology and history now. Like he plays
mhm.
such a big part, and he is Batman.
Yeah, he is.
That must have been a really geek out moment for you,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, and at that time when I interviewed Kevin Conroy, because we were doing this virtual convention at that time,
Mm,
and the people who were, like, you know doing it, like, wanted me to do some interviews to promote for the stars of of their virtual conventions. And so I recorded two interviews, in a row. Like, the first one was with Kevin Conroy, and the second one was with Ray Porter, the voice of Darkseid in Zack Snyder
yeah,
Justice
yeah.
League. So it was on the
Amazing.
same day. So Ray Porter is also someone that I always look forward to meet and
Mm.
interview with. I think I've interviewed him like three times so far, because yeah, he's been to the Middle East, like three times, one time virtual and two times physically. But he's an amazing person as well, and he's a voice actor. So
Mm,
when it comes to voice acting, they have a lot of skills that
that's right.
yeah,
That's
and,
right.
and like actors, voice acting is an acting, but
Hmm.
he kind of like helped me a lot, indirectly, let's say, to build
Hmm.
my confidence to do these interviews as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. When somebody else can help you in a different sort of way to
yeah.
bring confidence in what you do. I'm the same. There's a couple of people on my journey that I've met that really helped me with my confidence because you know we love comic books, we love movies. It's how you articulate yourself when it comes to doing interviews and like just an example, like when we met The Rock last year,
Yeah. Yeah.
for me personally, is probably one of the biggest things that has happened in since we
Hmm.
started this 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, we don't get paid for this. This is
Yeah.
free things that we do for the passion that we love. But for me, when I met The Rock, it was so hard to not contain the kid in me because we've seen him from wrestling, we've seen him in his big movies. He's a very charismatic character. To actually being in the same room and introducing yourself, and like I felt like a kid in that room, man. It's amazing what a
And
moment like that can do.
and at the same time, The Rock, helped helped all of us to feel comfortable and express
That's
our, let's say how much we love him as a person. And he's so down to earth, and it's
yeah,
really rare to, it's not. I mean, I've met some celebrities who were like, I'm not gonna say, I don't want to
yeah,
say any bad word here, but
and that's all right.
I've just met some celebrities who are not like, they don't care about the fans. They just wanna,
That's
they
right.
just, they don't care, or maybe they were having a bad day as well. I have to be fair, to them, you
No, no,
know,
of course. I've met a
yeah,
few like that as well. Definitely.
at the
Which
end of the day, they are a human being, so maybe they had a bad day or something. But when you are in a comic convention where people actually pay money to meet you, I mean, you have to put an act at least that you care about these fans. You know,
it's
if
very true.
if they're meeting you in the street, okay, that's another discussion. I'm
Mm,
talking about meeting celebrities in a comic convention or something like that. You know,
mm,
you have to respect the fans who like paid a lot of money to be here and see you and meet you and take your autograph and take a photo with you. And
mm,
so, I'm not gonna drop names, but The Rock is so well, so welcoming. He's so humble. He's so down to earth. And I've
mm.
seen some other celebrities like that. For example, John Bernthal as well.
Ah,
John Bernthal is one of the, he treats you like a brother, like, like
yeah.
when it comes to having a conversation with this guy, and you can go and check out my interview with him. He's like,
Yes.
hey, let's do this. Come on, brother. But he's so like, he's so comfortable to work with and to do an
Mm.
interview with as
That's
well.
nice. That is
And
very nice
so
because
so
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's amazing because as you said, it's comfortable to have that. I mean, John Berthnell, man, another one. Like
yeah,
my brother, he's a massive Punisher fan, so he
yeah,
he he's like, oh my god, I can't believe these guys have spoken to him, and how do we get him on the podcast? And I was like, you know what? If it's in our path, then things will happen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we just have to
Hopefully,
keep pushing.
yeah. I mean, the way again, I had the opportunity to interview him because he was part of the stars and the guest list of a certain comic convention that I was covering at that time. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I had that opportunity to do that. But hopefully, I think, I mean, like all of us want this as well. And I hope we achieve this, both of us, that
mm.
someday we get the opportunity to take part in press junkets and,
Yes,
go and
definitely,
interview,
definitely.
I mean, like when it comes to the Black Adam, the Shazam and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. I'm not sure if we can talk about this, but I mean, let's just give the viewers a taste of
Yeah, yeah.
what we of our experience when we
Hmm.
go and meet these celebrities. We just like take a photo with them, have a nice conversation with them for like 5 or 10 minutes, which is amazing, by the way. It's
Mm.
amazing. But in the same spot that we meet them, we can see that they like before they meet us, they were doing like some sort of a press junket and some
Hmm.
interviews, and hopefully, someday we get this opportunity as well. I think I can speak about my, because Geek House Share is considered like an account in the Middle East,
Hmm.
right now. But I'm trying to change that to make it an account for Arabic speakers and around the world, because Arabic speakers are not, they are everywhere. They're not just in
They're
the Middle
everywhere.
East right
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And so when it comes to having spots for these press junkets, they only like have one, maybe two for people in the Middle East. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And so, and I can understand, that, but hopefully, in the future we get more opportunities to participate in such press junkets and interview them, because I think this is like, if you reach to that level, then you're gonna meet everyone, You're gonna
No,
meet
of course, of course, of
yeah.
course. But that's very hard in itself because we are
Yeah.
in an industry where I personally think it's oversaturated. And like,
Mm,
as you know, how hard it is to even get a contact.
yeah. Yeah.
And if you do like, and everybody knows this, like I'm very grateful to get an invite, but it's very last minute.
Yeah.
And remember, we still live our everyday life, so we have to
Mm,
make, we made sacrifices.
yeah.
But I would like to have more planning done, like
Hmm.
I don't, because at the end of the day, it's free marketing for them. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
It's free
Exactly. I
marketing
mean,
for them. That's the honest truth. And everybody knows that. But I think as we want to be more articulated in how we do it, because we're not just representing it to the world, we're representing it to people that are like us, that want to get to see us do this as well.
hmm,
So
yeah.
it's very, very, very hard. And it's like I think, what was it? Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Like I want to do press junkets. I because we are journalists, we're media. Uh, but that was so hard, dude. So hard. And sometimes it's heartbreaking because you're like, you put a lot of work into something, you go back and forth with messaging, and then I think that didn't go through. But there was one incident that happened to me a couple of months ago for John Wick 4. It was
Hmm.
just before Ramadan, and it was me to get an interview to do with Scott Adkins, the martial artist. I absolutely love Scott Adkins. And my brother's a martial artist, and I thought it would have been a great interview because we would have talked about the film and we would have talked about his martial arts. But without saying any names, it went on for almost 6 weeks, and then there was no message after that.
Mm.
And it was like, oh my god, I've given you all of my ideas,
Oh my.
and then I'm actually seeing other people implement those ideas. So it's
Oh my
very
God.
hard
No.
to,
Yeah. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
and that's with
That's
people
not.
that, yeah, of course it's not fair, but it's the reality because they have somebody else that has a better following and they give them instructions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It sucks. It makes total sense, but it sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
especially like what sucks is that you gave them the ideas and they gave it to other people. Like, if you didn't speak to them in the first place, maybe that was. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I feel like they just stole the ideas that you had and gave it to someone else, which sucks more in my opinion.
yeah,
So, but on the bright side, I think Scott Askin is gonna be in London this week. Did you know that?
he's in Comic Con on Sunday, and I can't make it, bro.
Yes. Oh my God.
I know he's
I was
there.
trying I was trying to give you some good news, man, but
I know I've already checked it, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna go, and then I've got other things on. So, inshallah, another time. I mean,
inshallah,
the way
inshallah.
things work now, we're lucky because we get quite a lot of stuff coming. Like, there's never, nothing gonna happen. So there's always
Yeah,
time. There's always
yeah.
time. I did want to, like, who was you said it before? Who was your first person that you actually met, and you geeked out and you were like, oh my god, I'm actually meeting this person?
Yeah, as I said before, Kevin Conroy was that
Yeah.
guy because he's the first person I interviewed, But like, if you ask me personally about the
Mm,
highlight of let's say what I've done so far in Geek House Show. I mean,
mm,
like, of course I love going to these premieres. This is another step. This is a step that took us further
yeah.
to to a new place that we've never been before to participate in global premieres in the UK and stuff
Mm.
like that because we've never we always go and cover the local screenings that we have in the Middle
Screenings, that's
East,
right.
but it's not like an actual premiere, so this is like next level as they say. But for me personally, the highlight of Geek House Show, in my personal opinion, and maybe others will disagree with me, is participating in the participating in raising funds for ASFP,
Mm,
with the Zack Snyder stuff, and then Zack
mm,
Snyder sending us a message
yeah.
to the Geek House Show and the fans in the Middle East. For me, this is like um, this is like like I'm done. Like if tomorrow I don't continue doing the Geek House show or anything like that. I will always say, well, at least this happened. This is the highlight of my career in Geek House
Yeah.
show so far. Zach is
Oh,
an
that's
amazing person. He's
yes.
so down to earth. I think what happened with him with Justice League was horrible, and
Mm-hmm.
we were saying for a long, long time that there was a Snyder cut, and
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, there was a Snyder cut, and it was
Mm-hmm.
released. So a lot of people were saying that you were lying, guys. There is no Snyder cut. It's not true. There is no, And so when it was proven that there was indeed a Snyder cut and stuff like that, it was a big win for us.
Mm.
The fans who fought hard for this. And it was amazing. But at the same time, I have to clarify this because I know that when it comes to the Snyder fandom, there are some people who are like, we're not part of that. We've always been so respectful, and
Yeah.
when it comes to the language that we use,
Mm-hmm.
so most of it is, all of it is actually respectful, and we didn't like take part in some of, let's say,
The
I don't want
madness.
to. Yeah, the madness. I like this word more. Yeah, the madness. That some people are causing.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's funny how toxic
mm,
fandom gets now. You've got it
yeah,
in MCU, the DCEU, Star Wars, anime. You have this really big division of
yeah. It's crazy, man. I don't like to use the word toxic itself because at the end of the
mm,
day, maybe it's true, maybe it's toxic, but it's just a word that is used only with the Snyder fandom, where in my opinion it can be seen in the
mm,
DC Comics fandom as well,
that's right.
and also in the Marvel fandom and the Star Wars fandom. It's everywhere. It's even in
Mm.
football, what I
Oh
mean.
yeah, of course,
Yeah,
of
even in
course.
football, and so it's not exclusive to the Snyder fandom. It's
No,
everywhere.
no, it's
It's
everywhere. It's
everywhere,
everywhere.
and,
Yeah.
and it's bad. It's bad whether it's from this or that or here or there. It's bad. So at the end of the day, just express your opinion, say whatever you want to say respectfully, and let's agree to disagree. At the end of the
No,
day,
of
this
course, of course.
it's I always say this: movies are subjective. It's art. Like
Yeah.
how this movie feels for me. It may be different than how you feel about it because of different reasons. It's a personal it's a personal journey. It's a personal experience with each and every piece of art that you're seeing. So there's nothing wrong of
Mm.
not just liking, loving a movie that everyone hates, let's say,
Oh yeah, of
or
course,
or
of
or
course.
or let's say hating a movie that everyone loves. So it's okay. It's a personal journey. It's a personal experience that you have, and you know, as long
No,
as you're being respectful,
I
that's
think that's
it.
what it
Because
is.
yeah,
It's
it's
being
subject.
it's being respectful. There's a I don't know. Have you been watching Secret Invasion?
Yeah, I still didn't watch today's episode. I'm planning to
Okay. Oh
watch it
yeah.
after.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen it yet as well, but you saw last week's episode two.
yeah. I've seen the first two episodes. When we got a press screening for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I watched them like 3 weeks ago.
Oh
You know,
wow. So how have you found it so far?
it's amazing, man. I
Yeah.
mean, look, Secret Invasion. Again, I still didn't watch episode three, so just this
Mm,
is what I'm saying right now is from episode one and two. Or if it keeps going on the same level that we're seeing right now, it's
mm,
definitely gonna be the best MCU TV show. It's definitely easy. It's gonna be the best MCU TV show because it's so I love mystery. I love
mm.
mystery, and it's so mysterious, and it's also there are a lot of shocking incidents, and
Yes.
twists and turns, and I mean, like it feels like the MCU are taking a risk as well, which is really rare to see
Mm-hmm.
lately. It's different, and also
Very.
what makes this also more special is that the fact that the director
Mm,
is the same director for all the episodes.
mm-hmm.
So and he shot the whole thing
Mm,
and then he divided it into 6 episodes. And so I love the show because of again the drama and the shocking incidents. The ending of each and every episode is a shock on its own.
mm-hmm. No, that's right.
And yeah, and and I can't wait to see the next one. And I just hope that, this TV show continues, the greatness, continue the greatness that,
Of course,
yeah,
because I
until the end. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I found it very different. Something fresh for the MCU as well. Something
Mhm.
about Nick Fury's journey. We didn't understand his PTSD that he had after the snap because
Mhm.
he lost in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
He never got the win. He came
Yeah.
back. So that's amazing. But there was a really good conversation in episode 2 with him and Talos on the train about Skrulls and humans coexisting. And Samuel L. Jackson really, this really potent quote he had, and what he said was that, we as human beings can't even coexist with each other.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been battling for so long, and it really relates to the times we live in now. And I think they've got a very amazing cast, and they've got brilliant actors to because it's quite tense, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
really
mean,
quite tense. It's different, and I like that feeling. I like the realism to it as well, because really and truly, Secret Invasion's almost like real life reality when people invade other people's countries and stuff like that.
yeah, and when it comes to any piece of art that I'm watching, and I say, for me, movies and
Mm,
animation, all of these are piece of arts. That's what I like to call them. I don't
mm,
like to call them movies. When it comes to any piece of art that I'm watching, it's just, I like I like the reflection. I like to reflect, to reflect on what I'm seeing.
exactly.
That's why I love Man of Steel a lot. I know that a lot of
Oh
people don't.
yes, it's
I
one of
love
my
Man of Steel,
favorites.
yeah, because it discussed, how what will the world do if Superman was real in our
Hmm.
world? And I think that was a very, very interesting idea. It made me relate more to that DC world that's not built at the beginning, because of the realism, of it. Some people don't like that. They like, the escapism, but I like the realism, when it comes to watching um any piece of art, whether it's a comic book or not.
No,
And
of course,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
That movie is art, dude. Because I remember seeing it the first time
Mm.
around, and he put us in a position where we felt like, here is an alien coming from a different world, but yet wants to protect this world. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know. I've got the utmost respect for Zach for
Yeah.
bringing us that piece and the way he told that story. It's one of my favorite films. It's in my top 10 favorite movies of you know entire my entire life so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I adore that movie. But
Mm.
Hassan, tell me, we've had a busy year and loads of stuff going on. What's been
Mhm.
your favorite film so far?
This year,
Yeah, the past 6 months. What's been your favorite film so far?
I mean, I think it's very clear what is my favorite movie is. I think you share the same opinion. I'm not sure. It's, of course, Across the Spider-Verse, man.
Yes.
Across the across the Spider-Verse. As I said before, it's a piece of art, man. It's a
Mm,
piece of art. It's not just a piece of art in terms of the animation. It's in
mm,
terms of the storytelling, in terms of
yes.
how you can actually tackle the multiverse in the right way, no pun
Hmm.
intended. Okay. Okay. It's also about, the cameos,
Yes.
amazing cameos, and the Miles journey. I mean, like, what I like about that movie is the message that if you feel what you're doing is right, just follow your heart, man. Follow your heart,
Mm,
and that was really, I mean, but like, if you deep down feel that what you're doing is right, and you just follow your heart, and you know, and that's that tension between Miles and I forgot his name, man. Spider-Man 99. That's his name. Spider-Man, like,
oh,
what's
Miguel.
yeah,
Miguel. Yeah.
right. Is Spider-Man 2099 or
2099. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Miguel.
Yeah.
That discussion, between them. That was amazing. And then again, I said before, the cameos. I mean, they're not like, they are not part of the story, let's say, but they were done in a very smart way. And
Mm.
also Spider-Man India, you know, you- like, the chai tea thing, and the reflection of this culture as well, which is an amazing culture.
Yeah.
I really like that. I really like that. I can't wait. The only thing that I don't want to say didn't like, because I liked everything about this movie. I gave it a 10 out of 10, which is a rare thing to do. But
Mm.
the thing that I wish, or not wish, let's say, that I didn't feel, you know, or let's say I felt cheated a little bit, like when it came to the end of it. The end of it, you know what I mean? I just want to see the continuation of that story. And then when the movie ended, I was like, oh, come on guys, that's not fair. I want to see what happened next. And then when I go read online and say that, well, you're gonna see the movie, not just, it's not gonna be next year, maybe it's gonna be the year after or something like that,
That's right.
because they
Yeah.
still didn't work on the animation. I was like, oh my god.
Mm.
So I have to wait like for 2 or 3 years to watch the continuation of this amazing story that I'm so like invested in, and I want to
Yeah.
see what happened next. I mean, when it comes to TV show, you just wait for another, on another week, and you see the continuation of it. But this, you have to wait for 3 more years or 2 more years, man. It's a long time.
It is.
So that
It
was
is
a little bit
definitely.
disappointing for me, but I can understand,
It's amazing that they got
Mm.
to do that to an audience, because the screening I went to, everybody's mouth dropped because the
Yeah,
credits started rolling and they were like, "What the f? Like
yeah.
what? No, how could they do that to us?" And it was an amazing atmosphere, because here's a movie because I personally think, as much as I love seeing comic book representation on the big screen and live action,
Mhm.
I feel like this medium is meant for animation.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm as you know, I'm an artist myself. I love drawing comic book art. Uh, to see that represented on the big screen in that form, and to have that many people fall in love with it, is a testament to people's artwork. It was amazing, absolutely
yeah,
amazing. But
yeah.
yeah, that last bit, I think everybody agreed. How could you leave us like this?
Yeah, I think they should have just kept the name part one and part two, because then they have changed the names to Across the
Mm,
Spider Verse and the Beyond the Spider Verse. I think at the beginning it was Across the Spider Verse part one, Across the Spider Verse part two, or something
okay,
like
that's
that.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, if they kept the name like that, I mean, we all know that there is a second movie that is going to continue the story of this movie, but just removing part one of it, I think made it worse, in my opinion. So yeah,
It's good because you go in with a fresh mind, don't you?
yeah,
So what?
and then you get disappointed at the end.
That's marketing for you, bro. That's
Yeah,
marketing, bro. That's
yeah,
the best type of marketing as well, because like I adore the first Into the Spider-Verse. Like that's another one of my favorite
yeah,
movies
yeah,
of all
yeah,
time. It's such a
yeah,
great film. So the fact that they could continue to make it even better, because now people are like, which one is better? But I'm like, I love both of them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I love the first one because it introduced me to that style.
Yeah, I can't answer this question as well. I think I love
Mm,
both of them, and I said this in my like review. I think it's very difficult to see, a movie as like a sequel that is better than the original movie, let alone
mm,
on the same level. And this is, when it comes to the Spider-Verse movies so far,
mm.
I think both of them are great. Both of them are on the same level, and that level is excellent. You know what I mean? It's not like, good or just mediocre. No,
No,
excellent. Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah,
Exactly that. Exactly that. Exactly that.
and,
Go on, bro.
yeah. And when it comes to non-comic book movies, I think so far Air is my favorite non-comic book movie
Right, so
so far.
we've got the same taste in movies, bro.
Oh, really?
That
you,
was
you
actually my favorite film this year so far, before Spider-Verse.
yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Yeah, because I just love the banter. I love the way Matt and Ben work on the screen.
Yeah.
It was a very retro style type of movie, but it was engaging. I think
Thank you.
we don't
That's the word.
we
Yeah.
yeah, it's engaging because it made me, you know, learn more. I mean, most of it's Hollywoodified, I would say it, but it was engaging. It was conversations. It was, putting this trainer together. It was really good. Great soundtrack. It looked good. Ben Affleck's really good director. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was my favorite this year. I think what else was there? What else did we get this year? We got
I mean, the I think one of the great movies as well, but it's not as good as Air or Spider-Verse was the oh my God, I forget the name of it. I'm not good with names, man. The
it's all right.
Rocky
Oh, Creed
the
3.
Creed 3, yeah,
Yes,
Creed
Creed
3.
3 was
What?
good. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was really
Creed.
good. But yeah, it doesn't match up to those two
Yeah,
movies. But it's a good continued story. But I wish I still wanted Sylvester Stallone in it. I still wanted a bit of Rocky,
yeah.
like just a little bit. They said his name once. I remember watching it again. I was like, let's count how many times they say Rocky. They say it once, and it's like, oh come on, man, how could they not put Rocky in this one?
There
I
was
read,
a
I
drama. There was a drama behind the
there
scene,
is, yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know the whole story, but just I think Sylvester Stallone said, I'm not gonna shoot any scene in this movie or something. I
So
don't
the
know the
person
whole
who
story.
owns the right, person, the person, the producer that owns the rights to Rocky, uh, the drama is, I think Stallone tried to buy it back so he can give to his daughters to
Hmm.
say, this is something of mine that's yours now. The producer that owns it didn't want to sell it, and then when they started doing the project, he said that he didn't want to be involved in it because he didn't like the producer. So that's the ongoing beef. Hopefully,
Oh,
he gets it back in his name. It's
yeah.
very hard for somebody to lose a piece of art and
Hmm.
not be able to get it back because of. I mean, Marvel went through the same thing. Movie studios bought them out. Took ages to come back. It must be really hard for somebody who's created something to have ownership of it again.
Yeah, talking about Jack Kirby, man.
Mm.
Let's not get into that conversation because that's gonna take the whole episode. Jack
Oh,
Kirby,
listen, Jack Kirby,
Bob
Bill
Bob Kane,
Finger. Yeah,
Bob Kane, yeah, Bob Kane and Bill Finger. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
whole thing, the
of
whole
course.
situation between them, Steve Ditko. You
Oof,
know, so
oof.
let's not go there, man, because I
It
have
is
I have
pretty deep because,
I
like,
have
as a
some I have some opinions about this matter that not a lot of people won't like because they just want to
I mean,
idealize
well,
some
that's the
people.
problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the issue. Is idolized, isn't it? So,
yeah.
but it is marketed in such a way, like it's hard to say. As much as I'm a fan of him, there are certain things and situations that happen behind the scenes that not many people will know. And like for me, I'm a massive Jack Kirby fan. That guy is he is comic
Yeah,
books. He
he's
is
he's
comic books.
he's not just coming. He's Star Wars as well. He's everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
exactly.
yeah. He's the guy who created the whole thing between the new gods and
Yes.
dark side and the source and the force. And which
Yeah.
you know we all know that George Lucas was inspired by his work as well. So
Yes. Of course.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Of course. So
And
it's
and
like,
and let's talk briefly, or not talk. Just I'm just mentioning this. You've also met Bob Layton, right?
yes,
Who is
co-creator.
basically
Yeah,
the co-creator of the Iron Man that we love,
that's right.
and watch every day right now since 2008. He's the
Yeah.
guy who made Iron Man into
Yes.
that, but
Exactly.
he doesn't get enough credits.
He
Not a lot
doesn't.
of people, not a lot of people know his name actually.
Do you
I'm sure
know
that, yeah.
when I met him? I remember it was at a Comic Con. I think it was 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. He came to a Comic Con. He was sitting there, and the first thing I saw was like, oh my God, like there's not many American artists or any comic book artists that usually come to the UK Comic Cons at that time. They did really small conventions when they did come. There was one called Super Comic Con, but Bob Layton was sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my God, the guy who created Iron Man is
Mhm.
sitting right in front of me," and I didn't even know. Like the Comic Con didn't really promote him, so I was kind of upset about that because I was like, "Dude, you're the guy." Like I remember going to him, and I think I spent half the day with him, and he was like, "You could go around Comic Con." I was like, "No, I'm with the co-creator of Iron Man. This is like one of my favorite characters. I absolutely adore this character, and what you did in the comic books, your artwork is inspiring. Your stuff is everywhere. Like anything that's Marvel printed on a T-shirt or a calendar or anything, it's your Bob Layton artwork. It's yours. The Invincible Iron Man. Amazing guy. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing guy. Amazing guy.
yeah,
I've got a lot of time for him because he gave me that time. So as an artist, he gave me a lot of tips as well on how to do. I was just starting my journey back into getting into comic book artwork, and you know, he gave me some really good advice, which really helped me moving forward with my work.
Awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. And again, he's done a lot of work. He's the guy who created the Iron Man that we love
Hmm.
nowadays. He actually saved Iron Man because Marvel didn't like they wanted to stop. His story with the Iron Man. They like at that time when he joined Marvel, like Marvel just wanted to get rid of Iron Man, and he said,
That's right.
I'm just gonna sorry, I'm just gonna go and write my own run about this character," and he
Mm,
saved it. He saved it, and he made like the Tony Stark persona that we love and see nowadays. So he's the guy
hmm.
who created this, this shift. It's like when it comes to Batman,
Mm,
how Bill Finger actually created the whole thing about the Batman stuff, and then how then you know other creators took it to the next level. Okay,
hmm.
the whole idea of Iron Man was created, but then the person who took it to the next level and who made the Iron Man that we love and see right now is Bob Layton. But
Exactly.
he doesn't get enough credits, unfortunately, for that.
No, of course not. Of course. And it's quite, that's actually quite hard. That is quite hard.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would I always praise him, man.
Mm,
I love his work. I like he's a wonderful person. I've met him twice. I'll always geek out with him.
mm,
I've been trying to get him on the podcast one day,
mm,
but I can understand how busy people are. To give me
mm.
your time is always amazing. But what was your first comic book, bro? What was the first comic book that?
So that's gonna be a long answer because look, when I was a kid, I used to, as I said before, I used to read a lot of comic books, but they were in
Mm,
Arabic. They were not in English. And
okay.
so these comic books that I used to read in Arabic when I was a kid were like some Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck stuff, but in Arabic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, it was for kids, and at that time, I was so invested in these stories. Like I used to read them every day before I go to bed. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And but then when I started like, growing up a little bit, and we didn't like at that time we didn't have a lot of bookshops in Kuwait, where I'm from,
Mm,
and it was very rare for us to find comic books, or the idea of comic books was kind of like strange to me. And then in 2006, that was I traveled to Malaysia,
mm.
and I found this whole shop called Comic Mart. I remember the name of it vividly,
That's amazing.
and they had all of these characters: Spider-Man, Batman, Hulk. I was like, oh my god, what is this place? Comic Mart. I have to go there. And I went there, and I've seen a lot of comic books, and at that time, they announced the Dark Knight, but it was not released yet, I think, or something.
Hmm.
I don't remember, exactly if Dark Knight was announced or not. But the first comic book that I bought was The Killing Joke. I remember that,
Oh wow.
because it was
That's
a
right.
short one.
Yeah.
It was a short one. It also was a different language, because again, I was used to read comics in Arabic. This is English. It's a different
Yeah.
language. It's a second language or a foreign language for me. So it was the first comic book that I took. Sorry, and then I also bought some other comic books at that time, which were, sorry, The Long Halloween, and
Hmm.
also just Justice League in which Alex Ross was the artist.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, the comic book that Ross, Alex Ross, the amazing
Mm.
artist. He has drawn like he was the artist for a 3 volume Justice League run.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. That's right.
So I bought that as well, and a World War Hulk. Oh,
Oh
sorry,
yes,
Planet Hulk and World War Hulk as well.
yes. That's right.
And then I just dived into comic books and started reading this story, and then I started reading The Long Halloween and Hush, and also Identity Crisis, which
Hmm.
is still one of my favorites, and then Watchmen, of course.
Hmm.
And the rest is history. But right now, I'm not reading a lot of comic books like before,
Hmm.
uh, because of time as well, because there
No,
are a lot of
I
things to
don't
do.
blame you.
yeah, and
Very.
I'm not sure, but I, I don't think that the writing is as good as before, in my opinion. I like the synopsis. Let's say from the synopsis, like when you go and read the synopsis or the the brief or about the story, like there wasn't a story that is intriguing so far to me, except one,
Hmm.
which is TMNT Ronin.
Hmm.
The Last Ronin. Have you heard
Oh my
about
God,
it?
it's amazing. It's my
Yeah,
favorite book of this decade.
yeah. I just read the first chapter, yeah, but I didn't continue reading it. But it's amazing, man. It's amazing. Yeah,
It's a different character flip on a character that's
yeah,
beloved like Michelangelo to be like
yeah,
almost like a Frank Castle uh,
yeah.
character because of the loss.
Hmm.
Amazing book, bro. You're gonna absolutely love it. You're right. Comic books are not the same as they were in the early 2000s and the late 90s. I find it hard to. I try and find time and read some of the latest ones. A couple of them are all right. I mean, I'm reading one called Daredevil's the Devil's Regime, which is one about Kingpin and everybody else, which is all right. But you're right, man. Books like The Dark Knight and Watchmen and
Yeah, I mean,
there's
even when it's like the latest comic book one that I read was the Doomsday Clock.
mm,
Which was good at the beginning, but I don't like the end of it. You know what I mean?
no, nor did I.
Yeah,
Nor did I.
yeah. So I was like disappointed a little bit, and it felt a little bit like a waste of time, by the end of it. But
It's hard. It's hard
yeah,
because we've
yeah,
invested into our
hmm,
time in what we do socially and what we do when it comes to content that we take on. We want really something really good. So I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin was recommended to me to read because the person knew that I wasn't enjoying what was coming out, and he goes, "Read this. You
hmm,
are definitely going to enjoy this." And I did, and my brothers, we all loved that story. It's probably one of our favorite comic books that have come out in the past decade.
yeah,
Very heartfelt, very good. Uh, but yeah, comics it's different now, isn't it? It's
yeah.
changed dramatically. The industry's changed as well, so it's hard to get good writing, I suppose. But I mean, you picked. I mean, as you said, Batman's your favorite. What is it that draws you to that character?
I mean, again, one of the I always keep learning about this character day after day after day. But
Mm,
the thing that let's say attracted this character. I was attracted to this character because of the realism of it. It's like everyone as a hero. Everyone is like can fly and shoot lasers from their eyes or like have
mm,
superpowers. But this guy is just a human being like us. You know what I mean? So
mm-hmm,
his background story and his was interesting for me as well. How he as a character face his fears. But and put the mask, like the mask is his real. The
mm-hmm.
mask is the mask. When Batman wears the mask, that's who really is. And Bruce Wayne is the mask. You know what I mean? That's the thing that is interesting for me as a reader. But the most interesting thing about this character, in my opinion personally, is the fact that expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. You know,
Mm,
that's the idea of expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. Always keep planning. Always keep. You
mm.
know, this is something that's kind of like helped me in life as well when it comes to planning things.
Mm.
Just general things. Like booking a flight ticket or booking a hotel or planning a journey or something. Expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. It's
No, no,
it's
of
a
course.
simple it's a simple thing. But it's just
Hmm.
something that I think what I love about the Batman character is that he always you know ahead of his peers and his heroes and even the villains. Like he always keep planning. He has a plan B, he's a plan C, he's a plan D. You know what I mean?
He's
He's a
always
smart guy.
prepared. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
he's
smart
always
guy.
prepared. Yeah,
Very smart.
so
Very smart.
yeah, and also when it comes to the action, the martial art, you know what I mean? It's very very fun to watch. More
Mm.
than, in my opinion, more than when it comes to superpower fighting scene like Dragon Ball or something like that. That's
No,
that's
of course,
amazing
of
as well.
course.
That's great. But when it comes to the fighting style of Batman, that's different, man. You know, and
No,
and
that's
and and sorry about that. Also, when it comes to the reading, you know, because I liked Batman when I was a kid. I used to watch the Batman animated series in Arabic, actually, not in English, you know. And then I started watching it in English. You know, I like, you know, as I said before, I like mystery, you know, stories. I like, you know, the mystery element in any story that I read or watch. You know, so Batman is one of the most mysterious you know, characters in the comic book world, and that's why I love this character so much.
no, he's like, my brother's a massive fan as well. So, and he loves the fact about, you know, being prepared 10 steps ahead, and, you know, the sheer willpower of somebody that a person can push themselves to get to. So, no, that's amazing, bro.
What is your favorite character, Kibla?
Oh man,
who is your
so hard, man. I love them all, bro. But recently, something
Miles
about Logan.
Morales? Oh,
Well, Miles, I do love Miles Morales, but for me, it's
Logan is amazing, yeah, man.
Logan, man. Something about Logan. Something about Wolverine. You
I'm the
know.
best there is in what I do, but what I do isn't very nice.
Yeah, Wolverine. You know what? I always related to Wolverine because he's short.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, you know.
And, like, you know, his comic books have been always amazing. I feel his pain for some reason. You know, being immortal is not fun. Can you imagine coming back to life continuously, even when you know, it's quite a lonely journey. And for me, growing up in this country, it was quite a lonely. As I had my family and my friends and my brothers, but there was a part that was always, I felt distant from everything else. And that character of Logan always connected with me because he was a loner, he did his own thing, he was great at what he did. And that's what I kind of did when it came to me getting through this world was, you know, what I do to my best ability. And, you know, and I continue going on this path by myself. But then later on, that changed. But I love his character of, you know, he gets things done. He wants to
Yeah.
get things done. That's maybe in the most violent way. I wouldn't pick the violent way, but I think what James Mangold did in Logan really made me
Yeah.
fall in character with a lot more, because he he's gone through a lot and it's time to let go sometimes. But I didn't like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, to be honest. That's
Yeah,
very
you know,
hard to say.
yeah, I mean, like if you're comparing Hugh Jackman to the comic book, yeah, I can understand, but he's done a great, like, you know, I
Yeah.
think the same argument can be put when it comes to Christian Bale and Batman. You know, he's a great Batman, Christian Bale, but and like Hugh Jackman, he's a great Wolverine. But when it comes, he's not like, you know, the, like, let's say, the Kevin Conroy or the, you know, I forget, Steve Ballmer, you know,
Yeah.
Wolverine. I mean, have you seen the Hulk versus Wolverine short animated movie?
Oh yeah, amazing.
That's my favorite Wolverine,
Yeah.
You know, adaptation, in my opinion.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
that movie. It's just, if you guys haven't seen this, just do
See
yourself
it.
a favor and go on to YouTube, or what, I don't know, just write Hulk versus Wolverine. It's a 30 minutes, I think,
Yeah,
animated short movie, and it's freaking amazing. I love
so
I
good.
I love the Hulk, because Hulk is my favorite. The Hulk is my favorite Marvel comic book character, you know, from the Marvel side. And I'm really furious because I've seen an amazing Hulk with Edward Norton, and then they've changed it. You know what I mean? And they made the Hulk this, you know, comedic, you know, comic relief character, and it's not the Hulk,
Yeah.
man. It's not the Hulk. As I said before, I've read, you know, Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. It's amazing. I really want to see this.
Yeah, they're great books. Great books. He's a
Yeah.
great character. He's again, he relates to a lot of us in different ways because of how we
Yeah.
feel. And, you know, it's just sometimes adaptations to the big screen haven't been the best.
Yeah. I mean, like, when it comes to Edward Norton, I love that movie so much.
He
I think,
looks so good.
yeah,
So
I
good. So
think
good.
it's an underrated MCU movie because it's not part of, like, they changed the actor, you know. So that's why
Yeah.
a lot of people they just ignore it, ignore it. But it's really good, man. I just hope that we see, even if they change the actor, at least we see a Hulk like that again
No,
really soon. Yeah,
I want to see an angry Hulk, bro.
yeah,
I want to
man.
see an angry Hulk. I want to see him do his best, do his worst. What I was gonna say as well, bro. Like, so we recently got to see the Flash. What did you think, bro? I never got your
Uh,
thoughts on it.
I think it's a good movie.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think it's an enjoyable, fun movie.
Hmm.
There are some good stuff in it, but it's not an excellent movie. I think it was overhyped a lot before it was released, in my opinion, and that hurts it. A lot of people are saying like this is the best comic book movie of the
No.
last 10 years. A lot of people were saying that. Even James Gunn, he said that. And I think
Mm.
that kind of like hurt the movie because people were going with the high expectations, and then when we see the movie, it's good, but it's not that good. It's not even the best comic book movie of this year, in my opinion.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So when you're saying that it's the best comic book movie, one of the best comic book movies of all time, which is, in my opinion, not true, then it kind of like hurt it a lot. And I think Ezra Miller was the best part about this movie. His acting was amazing. I think
Hmm.
what he did as an actor was really difficult, to play two different Barry Allens at the
Hmm.
same time. It felt like, it felt different. It felt like he was really playing two different characters, and I think
Hmm.
he's the best part about that movie.
Hmm.
So the acting of Ezra Miller is, in my opinion, the highlight of that movie.
It
Um,
is.
and
It
and
is.
and the story is good. It's not a bad story. It's an adaptation of Flashpoint as well. But when you've seen another medium of art such as the comic itself, and also the animation, the animated movie, the Flashpoint animated movie, and you can't help yourself but to compare between the two of them.
That's right.
And there are two, like, again, the Flashpoint comic and also the animated movie is way ahead of what we've seen in the movie. And I think
Hmm.
we've seen all of these characters. We've seen Batman, we've seen Aquaman at the end, we've seen Wonder Woman. They could have done something really epic with that movie. um you know
Yeah. I mean, we
you
know
know that
there's issues that they had with that,
yeah.
and it's too many writers, directors, and it's very difficult. I feel like the comic book industry and the movies have come to a point now where I personally think we need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, focus on quality, man, not
Mm.
quantity.
Mm.
Focus on the quality of the work that you're doing, because,
Mm.
and I also think that, I mean, you've seen Black Adam, you've seen The Rock, and all of us after that movie were excited to see Henry Cavill again as Superman and
Hmm.
see a continuation of where the DCEU is gonna go next. And then suddenly they were saying like, oh, well, just ignore this, and
Mm.
we're gonna do a new universe. And I think that doing a universe, or might maybe a good idea, but like the announcement at that time, I think killed all the movies that came after Black Adam. Like, I think it killed the hype for Shazam. I think also it killed the hype for the Flash as well. And I'm just worried about Aquaman, man. And because a lot of people, like, not us, we are comic book fans, we're gonna go and watch these movies, never, whatever works,
Mm.
but when you go
Exactly.
to the general public and talk to them, like, they are confused, they are so confused. A lot of them were confused when they've seen, like, you know Michael Keaton Batman, and they were like saying, okay, like who's Batman right now? Is it Michael Keaton? Is it Ben Affleck? Is it Robert
Mm.
Pattinson? Like, it's for the general public, they don't understand the multiverse, let's say, and this movie is not part of the DCU, or not part of the DCU or whatever. So it's confusing, and I think, like, I'm looking forward to what James Gunn do with his new universe. But I
Hmm.
just feel that whatever he's gonna do, he needs to have a fresh start and not
Yes.
involve anyone from the old universe into his new DC world. Because if he's done that, then I think the confusion will just continue, and you either start fresh, or you don't start. You just continue if you don't start fresh, I think it's a big mix. We're not gonna do like it's not. We're not gonna solve any of the problems that the DCU right now has.
No, that's what he
Again,
has to start fresh, but it doesn't look like it though, because we saw the end credit scene for Shazam.
yeah,
The
I don't
the
know,
Flash, I
man.
don't know. They didn't really, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, Blue Beetle is supposed to be the beginning of this James Gunn era, and
Yeah,
then
looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's good.
yep, and then Aquaman is not part of that either. So where they head forward is going to be interesting to see. But we need it.
I mean,
If Blue Beetle is going to be the beginning, it needs to start fresh.
yeah, yeah. Again, I hope so. Like, I mean, even in the Blue BT, they mentioned Batman. Which Batman that they are mentioning? I don't know, man. Is it,
Exactly.
yeah, like I don't know what's going on, but hopefully they'll start. I mean, like what saddened me personally is that after the release of Zack Snyder Justice League, if you remember that, Kibla, there was a huge hype of what's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come next. People wanted to see the continuation of that story.
Yes, definitely.
And then they just killed it, Warner Brothers. They killed this whole, thing. And I think it's really unfortunate because they had something great. And I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. I honestly don't know. Maybe Zach didn't have the time to do it because he was working on Rebel Moon. Maybe, but the fact that that there were like some seeds planted for the future of that amazing story, and that we're not never gonna see it again. It's just disappointing for me because I'm really invested in that nightmare, world.
Same here, same here.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's one of those things where
I
it will
just
be a
hope.
cult classic.
Yeah, I just hope they continue doing, continue the story, um, with animation. If not like live
Well, that's
action.
what I thought they
Yeah,
were gonna do. I heard there was gonna be a animation that they could continue, but that didn't go well either. Uh, it's a
I don't
shame.
know.
It's a shame because
It's
it's
a
something
shame.
that brought up a lot of hype. Because when we found out eventually that they had a Snyder cut, and when we saw it,
Hmm.
dude, like again, like
Stay at night, man.
he did it like a graphic novel
Hmm.
in different sections. The vision was amazing. That's the one thing about Zack Snyder I've always loved from the beginning. His visual
Yeah,
style is amazing. He knows how to do things on such a grand scale. Like if there was anybody to do a Dragon Ball Z movie or a Fist of the North Star movie, it'd be Zack Snyder because he knows how to represent that sort of
yeah,
anarchy on the screen. Because same thing, Man of Steel. I mean, if we really had a real Superman in this world and he's fighting another person from another planet, that's what would happen. Things would get
yeah.
destroyed. There's gonna be collateral damage.
Hmm.
He knows he's so good with big spectacles. I mean, Watchmen,
Watchmen is my favorite comic book movie of all time, in my opinion. That's.
it's
I know
amazing.
it's a big statement, but it is. Because I was at that time, if you remember, Kibla, Watchmen was released a year after The Dark Knight.
Mhm.
And I've seen The Dark Knight like 8 or 9 times in cinema.
Yes, same,
I love that movie. I
same.
like. There was a time in which I just go to the cinema and I just say the lines with
Yeah,
because I memorized every single not every single line but most of the lines of that movie. And then
yeah.
Watchmen was released and I've seen that movie and I said, oh my god, I'm not sure, like, do I like this movie more than The Dark Knight? No, it's not true. It's not true. I was like, just convincing myself, deep down, like I was trying to convince myself that I don't like this movie more than The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is better in my opinion. But then I just couldn't, like a year or so after, I said, no, man, I have to be honest with myself. I like this movie more. I like this movie more, and not because the Dark Knight is a masterpiece, man. That's a given. But I mean, like Watchmen, it's just on another level, man, when it comes to the like reflecting the real world, and the
Of course.
politics, kill millions to save billions, and the whole
Oh my
thing of
God.
never compromise with Rorschach and with the
Yeah.
comedian and with the political stuff, and what is actually happening in this world is relatable to what is happening nowadays as well, man, which is
Oh
scary
no, of
as well.
course. It's
Which is
so scary,
scary.
bro. It
scary,
is.
but but it's really, it's really smart writing, Alan Moore work, and I think what Zach did with that movie is I like the change that he did at the end. Instead of
Yes.
having the squid thing, he did the nuclear bomb, which is
Mm.
more relatable to what we have right now.
Well, exactly. And I
Yeah,
think a lot of
yeah.
people had an issue with that. And I was trying to tell a lot of my friends at the time because they were like, oh, it doesn't really. The thing is, you're going to do such a vast, big story like that, and you want it to
Mm.
be more relatable to people. I think
Yeah,
what he did in that last scene was much better than what I shouldn't say this, but
yeah. No, I
what
agree
works
with
in
you.
the what works in the comic books work in the comic books. What
Mhm.
works on visual representation and how it hits reality would work better. He did the right choice.
Yeah, and I agree. I definitely agree with you. And I think like anyone who's saying that, well, it's not like the comics. So like, give me a comic book movie that is as like as representative of the comic more than Watchmen. Watchmen is like if you take
It's
it
almost
page to
frame by
page,
frame, but
frame
there
by
is
frame page.
one movie.
Which one? Please let me know.
It's Tom Hanks' Road to Perdition.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's.
So that's
Is it
another
like
one.
is it like the comic book itself? Page
Yes,
by page,
almost like
frame by.
page by page. That's the only
Okay.
one that I've seen in my entire geek
Mhm.
fandom of a comic book represented exactly
Mhm.
the same was Road to Perdition. But Watchmen comes very close because
Mhm.
the art style, the look of it, Zack Snyder knows what to do, man. Like even with 300, like you look at Frank Miller's comic book and you look at what he does represented on the screen. You can't pick anybody else better to represent somebody's visual ideas on the big screen. It's going to be
Mhm.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zach's an amazing, director and a person as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
But looking for if you look forward to the future, I don't mind anyone else, taking over DC like James Gunn. I'm really
Mm.
looking forward to whatever he's doing. I really hope deep down that what he does is going to be great. That's because at the end of the day, we love these characters, we love the DC world, and we want to see something on an epic scale, and
Hmm.
we just want to see a good story at the end because that will, I always say this, like when it comes to storytelling, you cannot say that this story is good or bad until it's like 10 or like a year or two after, because a good story will stand the test of time. Sometimes you watch a movie, you like
Yes.
it, you enjoy it, but then a year later or maybe a day later, you just forget about it. You know what I mean? But
So
good,
it's
yeah, please.
no, it's interesting you say that because it's rewatchability, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
it
it's not
something you're going to go watch again?
exactly not just that, but also the idea of the movie
Hmm.
itself, because it will stand the test of time. It's also the story itself. It's the themes that the movie or the piece of art that is discussed in that piece of art as well.
Mm.
So when it comes to movies such as Infinity War, for example, Across the Spider-Verse, Watchmen, The Dark Knight, Man of Steel, I think these movies stand the test of time
Hmm.
because of what they brought to the game, as they say.
Exactly.
And I hope that what we see with the new DC world is something like that. I trust James Gunn. I think he's a good director.
He's a good
It's
writer
just
as
like,
well, bro.
yeah, he's a good writer as well. But I don't like all of his movie. Like I like Guardians 1 and 3. I don't like 2 personally. I like
Hmm.
Peacemaker. I think the Suicide Squad was good, but not great. But Peacemaker was amazing. So it's like up and down. Like
Hmm.
But when it comes to the new DC world, I just hope that it's really good and
So what I personally think he should try some different marketing. James Gunn, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Uh, I think different marketing skills. I feel like not too much to be let out there in the world. I know as a human species right now, we're spoiled with the amount of content that we get. We want to know everything. We want to know what's happening. I feel like a bit of secrecy would help move, like with the anticipation of something. Like I remember when The Matrix had come out, and it came out the same time as Any Given Sunday, which was Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino, LL Cool J, and me and my friends, we all went to go see Any Given Sunday. But for The Matrix, we've never seen a trailer. All we've seen was a little bit of coding, The Matrix. Even all the posters didn't even have all the characters. It just had The Matrix. And we took a risk that day. There was 11 of us. We, instead of Any Given Sunday, we said, you know what? Let's go watch The Matrix. It's got Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne. Let's go watch this. I came out of the cinema thinking, what the hell did we watch? That was amazing. Like that sort of suspense, I feel like they need to bring that into marketing again.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes it's a bit too much. We get too much, and then we get saddened by it. As you said about The Flash, I think they overhyped it. Like I enjoyed it. I love it for what it is. And it brought back my Batman, which was Michael Keaton. But it was overly hyped. They had far too many people watch that movie. I personally think too many screenings. That's almost half the fans already that got to see the screenings. So it had a very bad run, which it makes me upset because I feel like the movie is worth more value.
Yeah, I agree with you. It has a lot
of heart, but I think Warner Brothers did something that they shouldn't have done. I think they marketed it very. Oh, it's sad to say because it comes with so much trouble as well. But
also when it comes to these movies, whether it's MCU or DC, like we always hear this, it became a meme right now. It's the best MCU movie since Infinity War. It's the best DCEU movie since The Dark Knight or something like that. It became a meme right now. You know what I mean? So when people review our movie or just post a reaction of it, just talk about the movie itself, and if you want to compare it to other movies, that's fine, of course. But just I just hope that sometimes overhyping a movie can damage it, like what happened with The Flash. I think if people were saying that it's a good movie, people will just go and maybe enjoy it more actually, because they didn't have that high expectation. Again, I know I love the Ezra Miller acting on that movie. But other than that, I think like when it comes to watching any movie, like you have to ask yourself what was memorable about this movie, what was so special about this movie when you finish watching it. And with The Flash, it's, for me personally, it's that the acting of Ezra Miller, that was something really amazing and special. You know what I mean? But when it comes to, for example, and I'm what I'm gonna say may sound controversial. The Shazam Fury the King's movie, that was really. I didn't like that movie, man. Honestly,
No?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I was like, and I've seen it with you. Remember?
I remember. Yeah, we did.
We've just met Zachary Levi, who was so nice and who was so amazing, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do right now. Like I didn't like the movie at all, and I just waited for a couple of days and then just posted my reaction and review respectfully, because it's just I don't know, like I think that movie was even worse than The Flash, and
you know what, I can agree with you on that. I think The Flash was a better movie because The Flash I could go watch again. Shazam was one of those movies. There was good parts, bad parts, but for me as a comic book fan, you've introduced these characters, was it the Sisters of Athena or something like that? Which are not, they're not main characters. They're like made up characters. They're not from the comic books. We have a rich 80 years mythology for DC Universe. There are so many enemies and so many characters that they could have pulled from the comic books and put into this story. But I don't, and because I still love watching movies and the DCEU, I still watch it. We have, like, I look at my comic book shelf now, we have 80 years of history. You could pick a character from there and do something.
I agree with you when it comes to that part, but I think what is most important what is more important is a good story, and I think that that movie lacked a good story, because when you think about Harley Quinn, for example, it was a made up character that first appeared in an animated show,
series,
yeah, and then it became this icon that that we have in the DC world right now. So
Yes,
I'm not against the idea of creating made up characters because
you just need it
that
good,
yeah,
right?
you just need a good story, man. That's it.
Yeah,
It's not a
it's
simple
true.
thing. So maybe
It's
people
true.
hear it like it's very. You just need a good story that is engaging as well. That's the key word, engaging. That makes you
Mm.
feel engaged in watching it, and if it's engaging, it will stand the test of time, in my opinion.
No,
And
of course, of course, of
yeah,
course, of course, of
and
course.
yeah. So that's
I
what I
suppose
hope
I yeah,
from the
I
new
hope the
DC
same
movie.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Let's see how it goes, bro. We
Inshallah,
will.
man.
I'm sure we'll have a good time. All right, bro. You know what? I've had you on for a long time, bro, and you probably want to
Yeah.
go get some lunch, bro. But listen, I'm so grateful. But before we go, and just for the listeners, I know they've heard us geek out. If somebody was on the path of getting into what we do, what's the words of encouragement would you give them?
It's just try to understand your context. you
Mm,
know Try to understand your context. What are your goals? Like what do you want to do? Like why are you doing this? Just ask yourself this question. Yeah,
mm,
these questions, sorry. Why are you doing this? What are your goals? And then try to understand the context that you're in. So at the beginning, like when I started my journey, I my main goal was to do the podcast in Arabic, the Geek Out Show
mm-hmm.
podcast, which I still do to this day.
Good, good.
But it's not, yeah, but it's not like after understanding the context in which I am, which is like which was Kuwait and the Middle East and the Gulf area. Like Instagram was the app in which most people go and read about these movies. And like
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to my goals, which is to be part of the whole covering all of these screenings and premieres and stuff like that. The companies, they don't look at your YouTube channel or stuff like that. They look at
They
your
look at your
Instagram account,
Instagram. That's right.
and you reach there. So I started working on my Instagram account and build it and stuff like that. So again, it's about understanding your context. You know what I mean? In the UK and the US, a lot of people go and read news, and websites. Where
Mm.
like in the Middle East, they don't like. It's very rare for people to go and read, news on websites. They just read it on Twitter or on Instagram. They don't go to a website just to read. It's piece of news or something.
Mm.
That's not how it's done there. Um, at least in my experience, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people go and read it on Instagram, maybe on Twitter, but Instagram more when it comes to movie news and stuff like that. So try to understand your context. That's the
Mm-hmm.
key. I think that's one of the key things that you guys should focus on, and also try to set your goals. Why are you doing this, and what are your goals, and try to build on that. And hopefully you'll. It's gonna take some time, so you need some patience as well. Try to
That's right.
collaborate with others who are in the same, who share the same passion. Like if you are into comic books, for example, you can reach out to Kibla, or
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like be part of his podcast, or you invite him to your podcast
No,
or
of
whatever.
course, of course.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
So
all
so
about
so that
collaboration.
collaboration, and one of the great things about having this account is to meet people who share the same passion. Like like I've met Kibla, I've met also other people who share this passion, and you can like make new friends on this journey. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the most
That's right.
beautiful things about about creating the Geek House show. It's not just go and meeting the stars and all of this. It's also meeting people like Kibla, which is, I think, is more interesting and more important than meeting The Rock or Zach or whatever, because
Oh
or
man.
whoever. So because this is like you're making friends right now, and friends
That's right.
last hopefully forever. You know what I mean? So yeah.
No, of course, of course. Mashallah, bro, man. You've made me blush and but no, absolutely amazing. Wise words from Hassan there, guys. But honestly, like find your context, ask your questions why, do small goals and collaborate because it plays a big part. I've noticed that on my journey as well, and I can only wish you guys that journey as well. But Hassan, bro, massive thank you for coming onto the show, man. Very
Oh, thank you for
appreciated,
having me,
man.
man. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. We should do
Yeah.
more. I think the next movie we watch, we need to sit down and break it down.
Sure. Is it gonna be Blue Beetle? hopefully. You know?
I hope so, inshallah. I hope so, because when is that? August, right?
Yeah, it's a month from now, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Let's get that email, bro. Let's do it.
Hopefully,
Let's
man.
do
Let's do
let's
it.
do it. That'd be good. That'd be good. But listen, have a wonderful day. Guys, Geek House Show on
Yeah.
Instagram. Follow them. The link is in the description. Go follow them. Check out their journey. It's absolutely amazing. Our son's got to do some amazing things, and it's inspiring to see that happen as well. Because when I got into the industry, I wanted to do something different, where someone that looks like me, that speaks like me, and culturally different as well, to do things like this as well. So it's amazing to see another brother doing that. So that's amazing, bro. Amazing.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope that the viewers, enjoy watching us speak for this long. I'm not sure if they're, are they gonna watch the whole thing, Kibla? I think
Always,
they're gonna.
bro. If they don't watch it, the platform, it's on all
Yeah, yeah.
platforms. So it's on Amazon Music, it's on
Oh,
Spotify,
awesome.
it's on Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
We're on a few, bro, because we found out the other day that two Muslim brothers talking about pop culture and our lives. In South Africa, we are charting at 109 in the Apple Podcast charts for film and TV.
All right. That's good, man. That's really
That's
that's the goal.
It's amazing, because here's two, like as I said, me and my brother, we started this 8 years ago. Just didn't think there would be brothers or sisters in South Africa that really enjoy our point of view of the films and comic books, and because we talk about our lives as well and inspiring others as well to get into whatever field they want to get into. So it's amazing that I remember getting that email, and I cried because 109, bro, there's 2.8 billion podcasts in the world, and we're
And
charting at 109 in South Africa. Doesn't matter which country. I'm over the moon, bro. Alhamdulillah, I'm really blessed
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That's
to
really good, man. That's really good. That's amazing, actually. And hopefully, inshallah, you'll be more than that. You'll be like, one of the top hundreds. That's your next goal, man. Top
That's it.
100.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So we keep going, we keep pushing. But bro, thank you for your time today. You have a wonderful day, man.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, bro.